So we'll go to the next question. Question 3 is done in the Accounts tab. So let's go ahead and find Accounts. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. So we have some months, we have credits and debits, and then cash flow. So that's obviously the left, subtract the right. And that's the amount of money you have at the end of the month, either positive or negative, and that's what we mean by cash flow. So question 1, in cell D4, create a simple formula that will deduct the debits from the credit to give the total cash flow, and then use autofill to fill in all 12 months. So let's try that out. Equals, so this is how much money is coming in, and then we do a minus, we're subtracting the money going out, we press enter, and there it is, that's our cash flow. So click on the cell, drag it down, and you can see some months we have a positive cash flow, other months we have a negative. Okay, in question C, in row 17, use the sum formula to calculate the total, the overall total of the credits, debits, and cash flow. Okay, so we'll go to row 17. It's right there. And we're just going to sum up everything above it. So let's do, oops, not there. So whenever you make a mistake, just hit escape on the keyboard. Let's do, click in that cell, equals. We're going to use the sum function, open bracket, sweep across the credits, and we have a total for the whole year of $882 of credits. We copy that formula across, okay, and once again, if you don't get the exact result that you want, look at the autofill options. Maybe it's something else, but in this case, yes, we are copying the cells. And if you have any doubt at all, just double click and make sure you have the right range of cells being added up. In this case, it's D4 to D15, and you can see here this blue box indicates that cell range. So I'm going to press enter here, and let's look at the next question. So in the next question, we go to column E, and we see if you can work out a way to show the running total for the cash flow. Well, there is a little trick here. The running total means you just keep adding it up. So for the first month, the running total is going to be $68.75. And then the next month, what you're going to do is you're going to add up those two, and then you're going to keep going down, and that cell right beside it, the running total, okay, is just going to be the sum of everything previously. Okay, now there is a trick here. The trick is don't start with doing a running total for the first month. Start by doing it on the second month, and you'll see it's much easier. So we'll do an equal sum, open bracket, and then we're summing up January and February. Okay, nothing else comes before it. We close it off. And there you go, that's our running total. All right, well, let's pull that down, okay, and let's see if that's actually giving us the correct running total. So if, for example, I choose the month of August, let's look at the running total formula for the month of August. Double click in the cell, so it's D10 to D11. Oh, no, that's not correct at all. Something went wrong here, and what happened is every time you copy the formula down, it just adds up the two cells that are adjacent to it. Okay, so if I go to another cell here in the running total, it's just those two cells right there. So really what we want to do is we don't want to start at D7 over here. We're starting at D11. We want to start right there, and that cell is D4. Now here's another thing you should notice here. Instead of looking across to see the address, There is an address bar right there in the left corner that tells you that. Now, what is happening every time we copy that formula? It's adjusting. D5 becomes D6, D6 becomes D7, and so on. That's a mistake. So watch what I do here. Okay, I'm going to go back to that first formula. That D4, I don't want that to change. That always has to start at the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it an absolute cell reference. And I do that by putting a $sign before the D, and that will guarantee the D doesn't change. And then a $sign before the 4, and that will guarantee that the 4 will not change. So that D4 is always fixed, even if I copy the formula, and we call that an absolute cell reference. The D5, well, that will change. The formula here will be D5, but when we copy it down, D5 will become D6, D7, D8. That's called relative. So when it's fixed, it's called absolute, and if the cell reference changes, that's called relative. So let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to grab the handle there on the cell, and I am going to pull it all the way down. Okay, not quite. Let's do that again. Okay, we're going to pull the formula all the way down here. All right, and let's check some of these cells. So that cell here, okay, that should be D4 all the way down to D14. Is it correct? Let's look at the cell. D4 all the way down to D15. Okay, so that one is correct. However, we're still missing the first cell here. So what can we do? Well, we can just simply pull it up. Okay, and if you double click on that first cell, you see it's just D4 to D4. The first D4 is absolute, the second one is relative, but the trick here was don't start at the first cell to do your running total, start at the second cell to do your running total. So I'll do that again one more time real quickly. Okay, so click in the second cell for the running total, equal sum. Okay, you're starting at D4, and that's absolute. So I can manually put in those $signs. Okay, I can just simply double click in there and put in those $signs. But here's a little trick. If I hit F4, if you look on your keyboard, F4 function, it will automatically put in those $signs. And then we close up. Oops, let's do that again. So we'll click on the first cell in our running total, hit F4 to get those $signs in there, colon. Oops, it wants to change it. Let's do it again. So we come over here and we hit F4, and then the second cell is going to be D5. And I think we're ready. So we press enter, and we copy the cell down, and we also copy the cell up, and we see an equal sign, so I think we did this correctly. And that's it for question number 3.